Alright, so we'll start off with this is what we'll be discussing throughout this slides. So the first thing we'll discuss is the three types of test or decision structure. The first one is the if then statement, which executes a block of statement if the condition is true. So a simple if means it will execute the code only if the condition is true. It won't do anything if it is false because there is no else part. So that is what the next thing comes, that is the if then else, which means it will execute a statement if it is true. If it is false also it will execute another set of statements. And finally we have something, actually there is one more, that is called if else if statement. Okay. An if else if statement is what we can check for more than one condition. Sometimes one condition is not enough, you have to check for more than one condition. That's when you can go for if else if. We will do that in practical. Okay. And we have another one that is called a select case. Now select case, it says test a single expression to compare with several values, and if matches with one of them the corresponding block of codes or statements is executed. Now there is one difference between a select case and a if then else statement. A select case will always compare with a constant value. Okay, like maybe you are checking for a number from 1 to 5. So it will check either a 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this. But it is not going to check for something like 1 is greater than 5 or something like this, for which select case is not a good choice, for which you should use the if then else statement. If you want to compare which results in like something is greater than something or whatever the other kind of comparison, better go for if then else statement. Basically we like to use select case when we are doing menu driven programs and all those things, where you want to provide menu to the user like 1 2 3 4. So the choice is between 1 2 3 4 and something like this. Alright, so this is the syntax for the if statement, which is a very simple one. That is a single line statement, if condition then statement. Now here is what we a distinction between this language, that is VB.NET, and other languages that you have known so far. First of all, it has got an if statement which is followed by a condition. If you remember language like C and others, you will see that the condition is kept within um, a bracket, isn't it? That is a round bracket. But here you don't need to keep it in a round bracket, but you can keep it, and it's a good habit to keep the condition within a round bracket. Okay. Now the if has to be followed by a word called then. Okay, unlike any other languages that you have known where you don't write this word then, and then a block of statement then you want to follow. Okay, and if will be always followed by something called a end if. Okay, so if the condition, then a block of statements and end if. But you can also have something like this. This is a multi-line statement, like in one line. Okay, this is a single line statement and this is a multi-line statement. Okay, similarly we have also the else statement. Okay, if then, so something like this. This is a single line statement and this is an example of a multi-line statement. All right, we'll do more in practical. And this is the way that you declare else statement. If some statements else, this is when if the condition is true it will execute only this part, if the condition is false it will go to the else part. But sometimes what happens, you want to check for more than one condition, that's when you have to use something called else if. And else if can check another condition, isn't it? So you can see that it's checking. Here is an example where we are checking for a score which is less than 50, we will do this part. If it is more than less than equal to 75, we will do this part. So that is more than one condition, you need to have an else if statement. All right, okay. Now then we have another special one that is called a select case. Okay, this is something which we used, as I told you, we use it for comparing it with a constant value. For example, like this is the syntax again, select case and an expression. Okay, the expression will be a constant value. If you look at this, like select case day. Okay, Now this is how you can check for more than one condition at the means one case at the same time. Like if the days 1 and 2, you have to separate it by a comma. Alright. So if the day is 1 and 2, then W is equals to sports, some values. If it is 3 and 4, whatever, this one. Then 5, this one. Case else, this is a special one, that is if none of the case is satisfied, then it will come to the case else. Okay. Now another thing, as compared to other languages again, a case does not have a break statement. Okay. If you remember language like C and all, I have to compare it with your other languages. Okay. If you remember other language, it does not have a break statement. So it automatically knows that if one of the condition, one of the case is true, it executes only that particular block and then it comes out. Okay. If none of them is true, it will automatically come to this case else part and it will execute and it will come out. Alright. Okay. So let's see some example now. So, I'm not going to take any input or anything, just a very simple example just to show you how it really works. Now, let's say I will declare a variable like dim, let's say no as int. Okay. Now, I want to write a very simple program where I want to check whether it's an even number or an odd number, okay, and so on. Okay. Or let's say I want to check whether it's a positive number or a negative number. Very simple program. So let's take some value no equals to, let's say I enter something like 47. Right. Now I want to check it's a positive number. How do you know a number is a positive number? If that number, that is no, is greater than 0. So it's understood that this one. See, if that has to be followed by then. Okay. And this is what is Visual Studio does. It automatically brings the end if for me. Okay. So here I say I have written it within bracket, but it's not necessary, as I told you. So let's say I want to print. In that case, I will just say console dot write line. I will say the number is a positive number. Alright. Okay. Now this is a very simple if statement, isn't it? So I have, maybe I can say something like this: console dot write line again. I will just say this one, this end of program. Okay, and then of course console dot read to pause the screen. Console dot read line read, doesn't matter here. All right. Now let's run this program. What do you expect the output will be? It is going to print the number is a positive number as well as end of the program. So two output will be there. So let's run. And there it is. The number is a, I should have spelling mistake. Okay, positive number. Okay, and the end of the program. Now that's what happens when it's a single if statement, isn't it? Okay, now let's say I take minus 12. Now what do you expect? How many output do you expect? It will be only one. Which is the one? End of the program, which is not under any condition, isn't it? So under that condition only this one. So that is what is going to happen. That is, it is going to say end of the program. Now let's have a look as this one. I remove this and if. Okay. Now I run again. Sorry. Okay. So now if this is the condition, then this one. Fine. So I run this. There is no error right now. Okay, this is what is the single line statement. Okay, so here end of the program. Okay, so what I didn't use here is the end if statement. Did you realize? Now suppose I want to have more than one statement. Means I want to say console dot this is the number, as well as I want to print that number also. So I want to do like this, console dot, I want to do right it, the number is, I want to print the value, so comma Adam. Okay. Now what do you expect? How many output? Are you sure? 3. I say it's only 2. It's because this condition is still false, isn't it? So it is going to print only this line and this line, isn't it? So when I run this, so it is printing that number and the end of the program. Now, here, that means, what does it imply? It implies that if I write in single line, okay, the condition that I am checking is only valid for this particular line, isn't it? Not for any other line. Am I right? Okay. So in that case, what happens? You are checking if this is true, it will do only this part. Of course, it will follow up with the rest of the things. For example, if I say 12, which is a positive number, now we can expect 3 lines, isn't it? Now, but suppose I say that no, I want to print 2 lines if the condition is true, that is this line as well as this line, and if it is false, then don't print these 2 lines, just only print this. That means I have got more than one condition. That is what I cannot do in a single line. For that, we have to keep it within this. I will copy this back again. This one, let's. So I put it now here. Alright, now what happens is that this condition, if it is true, right now is it true? Yes, so if I run it, so I expect 3 lines, isn't it? Now if I make it false by saying negative, okay, so if I run this, I will expect only 1, because both of these statements are inside the end if statement. Did you get it? So that is the difference between a single line and a multiple line statements in if statement. Okay. I'll tell you one thing, it's like most of the cases you'll find that a condition is always true for the next immediate line. Like in this case, it was when I wrote this then and I brought it here. Okay, so it was always true for this, isn't it? So it's always like this, but if you want more than that, you have to keep it like this, some within a particular, like in this case, if and if. Later on, you'll see loops and all those things. Do you got it? Okay. Now, suppose I want to check, because in this case, what is happening? It is printing only when it's a positive. Is it doing anything for the negative? No. So I want to check for negative also. Now, how do you understand that this is a negative? Obviously, if this condition is false, it implies that it's a negative number. So what I do here is that now I will modify this and I will just use the statement called else. Okay. So the moment I see else if is also coming up, but I will explain you. Okay. Else, and then I just copy this part again, the entire twice. Okay. Number is negative. Fine. Now what happened is that this is another type of if statement where it will also do something if the condition is false. So far that was not happening, isn't it? So let's run, and we can see that it is also finding the negative value. So now what happens? Both means my statements are executing either for a true statement or for a false statement. But is it executing all like this one, as well as this line, and this one all at the same time? No. That is why this is called a jump statement, because it jumps if the condition is true, it jumps to the part which is true. If it is false, it goes to the false part. Alright? So this is what is not a sequential program anymore. This is a jump statement. Yeah? So another special one. Now let's say, what do you expect will be the answer if this is 0? Now what do you? Is 0 a positive or a negative? It is, because 0 is something which decide whether it's a positive or negative, when it's greater than or less than. So it's neither a positive nor a negative. So what do you think? Because my computer, I have written something. So what do you expect the answer will be now? Yes? Okay. So some of you are saying that this is going to be the only end of the program. And I say that it is going to print this one. Because a computer will just, because our program logic says what? NO is greater than 0. So 0 is 0 greater than 0? Condition has become false. For false, what should it do? It should do this part, no? So it will automatically come to the false part. That is, it will say the number is a negative, which is a wrong, and it will print the end of the program. You get it? Because according to our logic, we are checking only for the positive. So the moment it's not positive, it thinks it's a negative number. Now, that means we are not getting the correct result. So that means one condition is not good enough for this program. Okay. So in that case, if you want to check for more than one condition, then there comes else if. Else if again has to be followed by another condition, which is less than 0. So if it is less than 0, it is going to say that, isn't it? Now notice, what will happen now, do you think? Is this condition true? No. Is this condition true? No. So that means it won't do anything at all. It will directly come to the end of the program. So when I run, so it is just telling me end of the program. But I want something else also, isn't it? So I want that if nothing is true, obviously it's understood that this number is a what kind of number? The number is a negative, it's a 0, isn't it? If it is not positive, if it is not negative, it's a 0. So the number is, I can directly say, very confidently I can say 0, which we will never like in our exam marks, isn't it? Alright? So now that means what is this else statement doing? An else statement is just telling us that if nothing, this is also not true, this is also not true, then it will automatically come to the else statement. So I expect now how many lines as an output? 2. One is that the number is 0 and this one. This line will always be there. Why? It does not belong to any condition. That is what is I am trying to say in this, that is it's a jump statement. Okay. So if I run there, the number is 0 and end of the program. Fine? Okay? Okay. So this is what is the, this is where we discussed all these different kinds of if then else statement. Okay, so we realize if it's a simple if statement, it is just going to take only, it is just going to check for a condition which is true. If it is false, we want to do something else, then we would like to go for if else statement, isn't it? And if we want to check for more than one condition, then we have to follow it by else if statement. Alright, so this is the first thing, that is we make decisions with this. Okay. So one more thing that is called a select case. Okay. So we'll come to this now.